Welcome to Only Reddit Updates. Ever been disappointed by an intriguing post with no updates or resolution? Well, you're in luck. I'm only posting stories that have those oh-so-satisfying updates directly from r/best of Redditors updates. I'm a fan of these Redditors, and their stories with updates and conclusions are a chef's kiss. I'm new to the space, so video uploads will hopefully have a consistent schedule. As the channel grows, I would love to give more updates. Hope you're ready, because here's part 1. Reposted by Direct Caterpillar 77. Status ongoing. OP is you marital problems 3934. Originally posted to AITA. Trigger warning: grief, loss of a loved one. Am I the asshole for telling my fiance to stop calling me by her late husband's name? I am 34 years old and my fiance is 31. Mon and I have been together for 4 years, engaged for 1 year. She is also 4 months pregnant with our first child. She's a sweetheart. We get along very well and I can see myself with her for a long time. Mon was married for 6 years before she met me to a guy named Kyle. Kyle died in a car accident a few years ago. Although the relationship between Mon and me is great, she often calls me by her late husband's name. Things like, "How was your day, Kyle?" Or, "Can you grab that for me, Kyle?" I'm almost certain it's accidental and she always apologizes and corrects herself, but it still makes me uncomfortable. She even slipped and called me by his name during sex. Finally, I sat down with her, and upset, told her that this was making me uncomfortable, and asked her to stop calling me that. She started crying, apologized, and told me that she still loves Kyle, and always will. I don't know why, but that really made me unhappy. At the end of that evening, her sister messaged me saying that I was rude to her sister, and that I'm an asshole.
Relevant comments. Chibbledibbs asks, he died a few years ago and you've been dating for 4 years. When did he die?
OP answers. He passed away 7 years ago. They were high school sweethearts and married early at the age of 18. He died when they were both 24 years old.
Xiao1Insty1 asks, grief is weird and hard. She may grieve Kyle for a long time. She has the right to. You also have a right to not be okay being called someone else's name. Has she seen a grief counselor? Have you considered couples therapy? The two of you need to sit down and talk about how you feel. She likely loves you very much and why her brain keeps defaulting to Kyle. It is, however, also likely that she has not properly dealt with her grief. She will need compassion and time. She also needs to understand that you are her partner and Kyle is not. Your feelings should matter to her, and it is not unreasonable to ask her to make a concentrated effort to get your name right. Regardless, therapy. You should both probably go.
OP replies, has she seen a grief counselor? Yes, she did in the first 3 years after his death. Have you considered couples therapy? Yes, but at the moment I haven't found any. This is very sad. Grief can unfortunately be so consuming, even when we are taking the proper steps and using available tools like grief counseling. If the name calling is truly accidental, I believe there are no assholes here. With that being said, I think it's fair to want to figure out the best way to eliminate this issue. Her loving him still makes sense. They were together during their formative years, had their life plans laid out, and then one unexpected day it was just gone. This is where you have to empathize and problem solve at the same time, to figure a way to show you validate those emotions while still embracing a fair boundary of use my name. Part 2, update number 1 and 2. July 7th, 2024, 6 months later. Since that day, Mon and I have been in couples therapy, and she has returned to the first therapist who treated her during the first 3 years of her grief. Obviously, it hasn't been easy. Our daughter was born a month ago, and Mon is still going through a lot, which makes taking care of a baby in the middle of all this even more complicated. Luckily, our parents are helping us with the baby. We've decided to postpone the wedding indefinitely. A lot has come up in therapy, such as finding out that Mon cries for Kyle when I'm not around. This can happen monthly, 3 times a month, or not at all. She also admitted that she doesn't feel comfortable talking deeply with me about it because she thinks I would get upset, which is nonsense considering I've heard stories about him before and never showed any upset. Some of her statements in therapy, like "I will never love anyone like I loved him," hurt me a lot. I feel more and more that this relationship is doomed to failure. However, this doesn't mean I'm giving up. I really love her, but I'm not extremely optimistic. I'm trying to work as much as possible on the relationship, mainly for the sake of our daughter. February 26, 2025, 1 year later. So, a lot has changed. Not everything has been easy, but I think, in a way, we're finding a new balance. Therapy has helped us a lot, both individually for her and as a couple. Mon is better at separating the past from the present, and she no longer calls me Kyle by mistake. We've been able to talk more openly. She feels more comfortable discussing the past and her feelings in depth. Our daughter is growing up so fast, and I can't even imagine going through all of this without our family's support. As for the marriage, it's still on pause. It's something we want at the right time. I can really see that she's putting in a lot of effort. She's been talking a lot with her sister, and we go out with her and her boyfriend quite often. My sister-in-law has always been somewhat protective of her and is genuinely concerned about her improvement. Aside from the usual small arguments, I'm managing to stay optimistic about the future. Some of the comments on my first post helped me a lot in the early stages, and I'm really grateful. I'm glad to see over the course of these updates, therapy, and open communication coming in for the save. Their lives are intertwined forever with the birth of their child. Wedding or not, figuring out how to interact with each other is only going to make life easier for this new family. I still believe there are no ashholes here. Even the sister who OP believes is being genuine. OP is optimistic, and I'm happy to see positivity after updates with larger windows between them.
Thanks for joining me today. I'm glad we got to enjoy this ride together. I may develop a scoring system for these AITA posts. Comment if you have any suggestions, similar experiences, takes, or stories on this situation. Subscribe if you're interested and looking forward to our next updated story.